What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Dropping Wisdom with Santos podcast. And today I have a reoccurring guest. Please introduce yourself and tell us what it's going to be about today.
My name is Jorge Kohn. I am the owner, operator, and sole manufacturer at Mackay Metalworks. And today we're just going to talk about my knife classes and some of the things I've been doing.
Yeah, I wanted you on because I had you on episode 85, but now that I'm doing video, I wanted you back on to really show and display all your different type of blades that you make. So, and also talk about the classes that you also teach classes that I think is awesome. And me and Ruby just did one class, and I think it's great that you do that. So go ahead and start talking about what you do, man. I'm really into this. But let's talk about your website first. Okay, it's mackaymetalworks.com. Okay, I'm just going to read off your website. Okay. Unleash your adventure with handcrafted blades from Mackay Metalworks, where retired sailor named Ghengis, a survivor of the USS Kohn bombing, forged unique tools from rare military metals and various stock steels. Embrace life, feel the steel. Processes. Stock removal method. Stock removal involves using cutting wheels, belt saws, belt sanders, and abrasives to strip material away from a piece of steel. Hammered forged method. The most common practice is to heat metal under fire until it is hot enough to be hammered into the desired shape on an anvil by hand and hammer. Handles and sheaths. All handles are handmade using either synthetic or organic materials. Sheaths are constructed of kydex or leather. All sheaths are made one at a time for a custom fit for each blade. Okay, that's awesome. Now on your website, it also shows different blades that you make. But since you have them here, please show each one and tell us what they're called and the process and all, because each one has different sheaths as well. I see.
Okay, well, start with this guy. I have a kydex dude. He will make kydex like the picture you see on it. I can send in custom camouflages, custom designs, or it just has stuff on his website. So that's where I buy it from. Kydex is a thermomold plastic. So you heat it up, it gets real flimsy, floppy like a noodle. You shape it around the blade. You put it down in a press where you have thermofoam and then something hard on top. So I have thermofoam and plywood. It gets clamped together and sandwiched. It sits for about 40 minutes. It's kind of like my sweet spot I like. Times vary depending on who you talk to. And it molds around the knife so that you have a sheath, something protective. Good sheath test, just hold it and shake it. If it comes out, you don't got good pinch points. So I make these one at a time per knife. I can make 10 of these knives, but I will make one sheath per each one by itself, so that way you have a good sheath.
And talk about the clip for the belt behind it.
Okay, and there's a lot of companies that sell this. I like these ones. There's Tech Locks, and there's this other company that makes theirs a little different. This goes on your belt. This clips in and locks, and it has a little on-off tab, so you can't open it back up, and then you can open it to get it back open and get it off yourself. I like these because you can go scout carry, up and down, so it's horizontal or vertical carry, wherever you want on your belt, your system. Then I measure all the holes so you can use different mounting systems. So if you put this on a gun belt, plate carrier, your backpack for camping, or on your belt like this one has. This knife was made a stock removal method. So this was, if you can think, a rectangular bar of steel. I cut away what I didn't need to get a basic shape, went on my grinder, cleaned off that shape and made a blank, and then went against the belt to different degrees to make this blade. Then I put a handle on it. I hand ground the handle once it was glued there and cleaned it all up. There's pins in there and there's glue between that, and that's what makes your handle. So this would be as close as this is handmade, but using the stock removal method, this is about as close as you visually can get to something you'd see at a sporting goods store or on some other websites where it's just a super clean knife. I did not hammer this at all. There was no hammer marks. This was only heated for the quenching and tempering process, but there was no hammering to this. So stock removal knife. It's kind of like a drop point hunter. This was made by a police officer in one of my classes. This is a ring knife, and it's a Crombit style, 2 degrees. The guy had ideas. He put that down on paper. He hammered this out of a horse rasp, so it's like a giant file that they use on horse hooves. And he made this. We use a machine to cut out the finger hole, a Dremel to clean this out so you don't cut your finger on this if you're spinning it. We paracord wrapped it. We use a little resin glue on here to get this nice and tight. And this is pretty much a defensive knife because the guy likes knives and likes defensive stuff. So that's kind of like a finger karambit knife. Once again, Kydex was pressed one at a time, and he's got little belt loops on it, so your belt slides through there and just sits on your belt. This is another blade from another class. A young lady, prior military gunner's mate, now college student, came to a class and did this. She surfs with a bunch of friends of mine. She beat this out of a horse rasp, and this is what she came up with. It's kind of like a Skinner knife, kind of not. Difference about this knife, though, you can see right there,
Yeah.
I did a turquoise inlay along the spine,
I like
up,
that.
down, and all around it. And if you can visualize this, there's a full tang, so a piece of steel goes all the way through the handle. We cut that in a bit, so it's a smaller rectangle, put the wood on like a sandwich, and then in that little canyon, we put the turquoise in and glued it, and then ground it out to get that look. And that's what she wanted. Once again, Kydex, pressed and molded to fit that knife. Kydex test, doesn't fall out. It's pretty much the easiest way to do that. This is one of my OG knives. This was a leaf spring. I beat this out probably like 7 years ago.
God, that's a wide blade.
Yeah, it was one of the first ones, and that's, you kind of, when you're making blades, hammer forged or ground out, any bladesmith starting. I had a guy in the shop the other day, he said, your creative language, your art language, when you're making something, even if you're working in someone else's shop or you're working in your shop or you see stuff and then you start making things, you develop a creative language. And some of it's taken from things you've seen, books, YouTube, whatever, and then you start to get your own stuff. So back then, I was like, if I'm making knives and someone's paying an X price / I'm hammering and I'm making 10 of these, they were functional, but they were chonky. So there's like some super highly medieval like steak knife Skinner. I really like it, and I made this person 2 more knives to trade back for this because it's one of my first knives. And I've just been playing with it. Sometimes I sand off the handle, put a new handle on. I just keep messing with it because I don't want to mess with the blade, but I feel like I could do better with the handle, and it's one of the first ones. And in relation to what I make now, I'm like, sometimes I look at some of my first blades and I'm like, can I have that back? And they're like, no, so I can want to make it better or give them something else. When that guy was making that karambit, I kind of made this one, no ring, just a handle, and that was beat out of a horse rasp, so that's hammer forged. And this is very much you can cut normal stuff with this, but this is very much a defensive fighting knife style, and I kind of like it. This one, belt clip, so this goes in your waistband, and this is wide to clip onto your belt on the outside of the waistband, so it sits in your pants with this on the outside, inside the waistband style. You can deploy it this way to do things that you have to do with it. Kydex guy's really cool. He does fun stuff. So this is Deadpool riding a unicorn. I had some left over and I was just making a knife, so I was like, yeah, I'll use this up. So this knife, beat out of a horse rasp. Just a little functional Skinner type knife. But what's different about this is I took a little silicone vat, mixed up some resin, put some dye in it, and then threw a whole pine cone in there and then bisected it. So this has pine cone and blue resin with white pins in it. So it's a little more playing around doing artistic knife handle stuff. But you can see, like I said, the full tang is the knife goes all the way through the handle sandwiches around it. Whereas a hidden tang, you can't see that. I was doing some leather work the other day, so I took a coin a buddy gave me, pressed it into wet leather to get that symbol from the TV show, the SEAL Team's TV show.
Okay.
And what I did with this is I riveted the leather for safety and to put the leather together, glued the edge together, took a leather punch, punched holes all the way down, drilled them out so they're super clean, and then I used red wax line and did a surgeon's knot all the way around. So on the next one I'll show you the difference of what I did with that one, but this is like a surgeon's knot, so all the leather work's there, and you have a flat leather area here that you burnish, you smooth it out. Has a belt clip. This is once again a hammer forged horse rasp. Put max effort on there just for fun. And the handle material is from Rhino Customs, local guy, makes knives as well as handle material. And he did like a gold black inlay resin with maple burl, and then I put brass pins on it, so that's what that looks like. And with my leather sheaths, I like to go like halfway down your handle, if not 2/3, because then it's in there, it's snug. It's not going to fall out if you fall upside down or fall off a horse. I did make a knife for a lady once in a sheath, a group build, and found out that her knife fell out when they were horseback riding. Made her a new knife, no big deal, but thought about where the placement was. I'm like, yeah, these sheaths need to be higher up, so they like a kangaroo pouch that holds your knife in. And then I just did some work. I distressed it with a Dremel and sanded it down and re-dyed it, and it got kind of, I would say, like alligator skin look. I don't know, that's my opinion. I thought it was pretty cool. So I'm just gonna experiment with decorations now on the leather instead of just having smooth leather sheets. Now this one, I did more what I look at as like medieval knotwork, back and forth, crisscrossing, but around the edge of that. And that's what that ended up looking like. I'm gonna decide which one I like better. This is a stock removal blade with a Bacote wood handle and pins, and once again a full tang knife. And I do all my handles by scratch. Grind, sand, file them down, smooth them down, all this, every handle, all the finishing work. It's not like a machine or a CNC machine, and it's not like it's all down an assembly line. This is one at a time. They're all just sitting on the table, and I go through and do all my stuff one at a time. These little daggers, which Santos got one from a different build. This one, I had a company that water jet steel out. So you can sit and give them your design. And I was like, okay, if I was going to scale up and start mass producing or make them for stores or whatever, how do you do that? So you go there, you find out, here's what I want to build. They're like, cool. Here's the price point for each one times how many you buy. And they send them to you. And this is all flat, no blade. It's just a flat piece of steel in the shape of this, hollowed out in the middle because that's what I wanted. They send you a bunch. I got like 40 of these. And then I just grind them out stock removal style and figure out what I want. And you can pick your steel, so obviously you pick a good knife steel. So this was like a mass-produced dagger I did for a while.
How long did it take you to do the tying of
this? When I was done with these, I had like, I think there was 20 one time that I just had to do. And I think it was like 3 episodes of Stargate Atlantis. The best I can put it is Stargate Atlantis on TV. 3 episodes, energy drink, a rum and coke, I think 2 bottles of water. I was just sitting there because I'll clamp this to a little table I have. I pull out the paracord I'm using. I gut the paracord, so it's just the outer part of the paracord for people who are familiar with how paracord is made. And then just crisscross it in there and make a nice little paracord handle. Put a little, the resin, the super glue, resin glue you get at the shop right here, just on the edges so it stays. And it's real nice. And then I just put a little like, it's not like, what is it? It's kind of like the sawdust. I'll like rub it in there, clean it off, and then clean this up with a little bit of like beeswax and whatnot. So it gives it a distressed, nice luster on the paracord, and it gives it some texture, and it's real nice. Yeah, so that's that. Using discrete carry pins on this one, I bought those. These go, you can clip in your pocket or in your pant line. These are nice, but I've had a couple of these not work on certain ways of knives. The best ones I found, and this is 100% a plug, Dynamis Alliance, his clips, like I love them. They're local. I can get them at 2 different shops or hit up the shop where he has them and like go over there and buy. Those clips work. I like them. I like them on my pistol stuff. I like them on everything. And they're local, so anything I can find local where I can talk to someone also gives me the warm fuzzy when I'm doing gear work. This last one's kind of special. I'm mailing this out to a buddy. This is a piece of USS cold steel. I have chunks and pieces here and there, but this guy that I'm mailing this to was a team guy. His team went out there. I didn't know him then. I know him a little bit now. And I'm mailing this to him because he was out there as kind of a new guy, and I was a brand new guy in the Navy, and just shared history on an event. So this one has 67 in Roman numerals that I etched on there. And my buddy Matt, who I'll go into in a second, that was the symbol he put on all his gear. So it's kind of like the team guy tie-in. This is spalted tamarind wood, brass pins, and this is just a stock removal. I beat it out a little bit, got it real flat, so I hammered it, flattened it so it was super clean, and then did all this extra work and just made a nice little pocket knife in a black multicam Kydex guy. So stock removal and hammering at the same time. So you can hammer stuff still and then smooth it out on the grinder and take away all your hammer marks. Because this was like, this piece of metal was like this big and I needed it to be this big. And I didn't want to waste it. I mean, it's a very historical metal. You're not really just getting that anymore. And last, this is a horse rasp that I hammered out flat. And this is the beginning of a knife where you've cut the pieces you didn't need that were a knife after I hammered it. I hammered in a lot of the other texture. And then I ground the first basic flat shapes of this blank so that I can start to conceptualize what my next knife is going to be from this. So when this first started, say it was about that much shorter, about an inch on each side in, and this handle would have been around where my third finger is, so 1, 2, 3. So I elongated it, I widened everything. Yeah, that's pretty much what I brought today.
All right, I'm gonna show you guys what I bought from the My Kind metal. So I got this one here, right? And if you see, you can do personal engravings on the blade. This is an alien from the Aliens, right? And then this one here, there's another sheath. There's that sheath here. I got this blade. I love this one, right? And of course, this was my favorite, obviously. What do you call this one? A trench
wolf.
Trench wolf, right here. Pull this out, right? See this right here? In the dark, this bleeds. It's lime green like the predator blood that I requested. And on this side, he engraved it in lettering Maikai in predator language. So this is my favorite. He can customize it. Somehow you can customize it if you have an idiot like me that wants silly things like on his knife. I don't know how difficult that was for you to do, but in the dark, that glows with the lime green predator blood on the handle, which I think is one of a kind, honestly. But
well, it is to a degree. Like when you asked me that, I was already looking at different dyes that you put in resins for things, and I saw somebody that had glow-in-the-dark tile. So the first thing I was going to do with that was, okay, so I'll just cut tile and then Dremel into the handle and place the tile in. I'm like, one, that's a high likelihood that I'm going to jack up his handle that's already on there. I don't want to do all that Dremel work. So how can I do this where it's some type of resin, like my brain just went to resin, set, sand down, clean up, and make it happy. And then as I was going down the resin and the dye rabbit hole, there's somebody who had glow in the dark. So I started going down, found a dude on Etsy, and he had stuff he had colors and good videos. And here's one thing for makers. If you're making something I need, or if I'm making something, make a video once in a while so people can see it in motion or see it being worked. Because I can have flat pictures all day. And that, I know for me, it dissuades me from wanting to get or buy certain things if I see a flat picture and I can't see it in its use. I can't have no concept of how it's being used. And yeah, no, that stuff came out really good. So that was an easy day with that. Just dremeling the channels I needed, taping it up with painter's tape, filling it with the resin. It was filled up. It cured over 2 days, and then getting in there and sanding it out. And then I was like, okay, I did all this. Then I taped it to a light and let it sit in my workshop. I'm like, I'm gonna let it sit there for like half a day just to make sure it's saturated in light before I use it, because I really didn't want to have that be like, hey, it didn't work. And also I got a bunch of green Dremel lines in here.
well, only that, you did your homework on knowing the letters of the predator language to type to engrave the Maikai on it.
Side note, super big comic book nerd, and I have a ton of Aliens vs. Predator comics from when I was in junior high and high school. So like, it's not really hard nowadays. You don't have to go to the comic shop and sit around and listen to some dude drone at you about stuff you need to find out. Just Google a couple threads and movie threads, and it was like, yeah, here's the whole alphabet of the Yantu language and all this stuff. So I'm like, perfect.
Oh, that's great.
And then now that all the Hunter Killer, Prey, and all the alien movies come out, I'm like, these are cool. So now there's more stuff, and I've had some people reach out like, hey, can you do his ninja star from Aliens vs. Predator? I'm like, no, I'm not. No, absolutely not. Because if I make something that big and cool and I give it to you, odds are you're gonna throw it and hurt yourself. I don't want none of that smoke on it. So I'm like, no. I will make a Predator knife. Like if you see one in a comic, you're like, hey, can I get this knife from Predator? I'm like, hey, let me look at it. Let me see what I can do. Let me cut out some prototypes. Because sometimes it's fun to do customs when there's a little bit of a challenge. But what I've learned is people's imagination versus my actual skill to the equipment I have to what's literally capable. Those are all fine. That's sometimes they can be way out here and they're not happening.
Okay, now when I was in your workshop, you make blades that aren't steel as well.
Right, correct. I have.
And what material is that?
There's G10, and wood, and then there's Richlite, which is a bunch of paper they compress with oil and they compress it in a machine to stabilize it. And I use that for handle material, but it's super rigid.
What's G10? Fiberglass?
Yeah, it's like fiber. It's a bunch of fibers put together. I don't remember the exact definition. It's just really hard stuff. Like this is like a bunch of layers of G10 for the black and turquoise. Real thin, but a bunch. So this is when I cut this 3/16 thick. And I mean, if I cut a long piece off and put a point on it, you could push it into somebody or hurt them really bad with it.
I didn't know you made those because I bought mine from Dynamics Alliance. A non-steel blade, a G10.
Yeah.
Because I go to the Norva, the Scope, the Amphitheater, and that doesn't get detected through the metal detector. That is one let everyone know. You're still protected. I don't know if I should be saying this, but I don't give a shit. You never know what's going to go down nowadays. We see what's going on in the world. If it's not detected through the metal detector, you're still protecting you and your family and your loved ones. I'm taking the risk. I don't recommend going through the airport with it. I don't have enough balls to do that yet. But I would recommend to have that on you because I'll do it plenty of times. And I go, like I said, plenty of times where there's a metal detector and I don't get detected and I still have the blade on me.
Like, I can't speak for them because I don't remember if they make G10 or if theirs is aluminum. Because a lot of companies that make solid EDC defensive knives and they accompany those knives because that's like kind of their direct market. They accompany that knife with a trainer. And the trainer is usually aluminum. It's the aluminum blunt shape like this, like a shape, and just super blunted so nothing can really stab you, but it's still hard. So you're training with something with some weight. Some companies make G10 defensive tools, and like one of them is Black Triangle Group. They're local, super rad. That dude is the man. He makes a ton of them. He makes them purpose driven because like all the work he's ever done and the things he knows, so he's the dude. If I ever make one, because I know and I have friends that make them with their things, I make them if someone wants one to accompany the knife they've made, or if they bought a knife from me and say, hey, can you make me a trainer for this knife so I have something to train with? That's no problem. As a rule, I don't just make trainers because one, there is a defensive tool / market trainer for that. And the price point would be close to what those people do. And like, it's just not a business I really want to get into.
I got you.
But like on a case-by-case basis, and it's like for customers, they're like, hey, I bought one of your daggers. I would like the defensive tool that looks like it so I can like train with. No problem, dude. Which one did you get? That dagger? Cool, got it. Hey, I bought one of your ring knives. Can you make a trainer to go with it? Yeah, no problem, because it's a one-off, super easy. It's a one-off price, a little more expensive. Just the one thing. There you go.
I can't wait for my Predator machete to be completely done.
Yeah, no, that's super. I was like looking at the other day in the shop, sitting there. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna be grinding. We're gonna be doing a lot of like back and forth with this, but it's gonna be fun. Like it's gonna be really good. And then I was just looking at, I'm thinking I'm gonna have to like measure it, fold leather, make a leather sheath for it, and then have the new laser guy I got like just zap it like with like a whole like Predator, like just I'm coming up with all this stuff that's like me drawing it, so it's like simple for him to vector, but also it's gonna look really cool because it'll be like, okay, this is the first one, and then in between it, here's the layover for the next one. So it's like 4 different laserings, so it goes over, and it's gonna look cool. It'll be fun.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Okay, now last but not least, I want you to talk about the classes that you do because I think this is awesome. So go ahead, talk about it.
Okay, so this actually was not, I always want to do classes, and I said, hey, people should do class. If you want to come, hit me up, just DM me, figure it out. I was doing the family reunion show around the time, was it June? Off Base Supply has a family reunion show where they have some of the vendors come in, and we're over at the Bold Mary Brewery. Shameless plug, love the beer. You go there, and we're upstairs, and everyone's got a table, Ops Core, all these cool companies everyone knows, Matt Bach, SNS, all the companies are around here. LBT, all kinds of stuff. We're sitting there hanging out, and a young lady walks up, and she's like, hey, is this Makai or Makai? And I go, Makai? And she goes, okay, so it's Hawaiian style. We're talking. Kristen's awesome. She runs Kahu Forge. She is a Virginia Beach police officer and firearms instructor, and just a really nice lady, Hawaiian, like super full of aloha. She's like, hey, would you ever want to like do a thing where I do what I do with the gun classes I do, but people get to come make a knife, we do like a combo class. So I said, I'm not opposed to it. Me thinking, you already have some kind of audience that comes to your stuff. This might work out. That sounds pretty cool. Cool, let's go sit down and have a lunch about it. So we did. And what came of that is a combination. You come and build your knife with how I have made the classes. So hammer, a little bit of grinding, a little bit of cleaning up, shape. I finish your knife, you go do your weapons class, and the next day we give you your knife and your certificate and all this stuff. So it's like just building strength, unity, being strong. You as a human beat metal to your will to make a tool, and then you went and sharpened yourself to be a tool because you went to the range and like learned how to use your weapon system properly and all the stuff and got qualifications. So it came from that, and when the ladies came out to do PR for it, so we did a class and ran through, because also I need to conceptualize, if I got 3, 4, or 5 people in here, like how am I managing that time and like running a class through a day to get everything done to a certain point. It was great PR, everyone liked it, and I just plug, hey, that I also have classes, so other people hit me and go, hey, I want to get a class, I don't need actually the gun stuff, I just want a class. So I got to get my classes up and explain that. So now what exists is you can go through me for a class for a knife, and if you come with a friend or a couple or however it comes out that you bring more people, you get small discounts on the next person, so it helps out with the price for you. And then there's the combo class where you hit up Kahu Forge and you get your CCW and you learn about your weapon system and you come make a knife.
Now, how many classes does it take to make a knife? 2?
If it's my classes, the way that's set up is you have 2 to 3 classes, because it's 2 to 3 hours. We set it up and try to get it within like a 2-week time frame. And you come in, you hammer stuff out, you cut your blank, and you get some grinds in. You cap it out at 3 hours. After 3 hours, everybody who doesn't normally make knives all day gets a little like tired, and everyone's like, okay, cool, I'm kind of done. Can I be done? Because it's physically, it takes a toll on you. The next class, the grinds are good. We at the end of the first class, we torch it. So second class, make sure your grinds are good. It gets cooked. We work on your handle material. Put your handles on, you shape those, and if there's a third class, finish shaping handles, and you put it in a Kydex sheath, and you take it home, and it's good to go. And I explain everything, cleaning, sharpening. We put bevels and we put degrees of the blade on it, so it's easy just to get a commercial easy sharpener. And I show you, if you just use these 2 little things, it's easy to sharpen blades. Because when I first had blades and wasn't a bladesmith, I was bad at sharpening knives, so I had to learn how. And I learned that I don't like building an erector set on my table to just sharpen a knife. I'm not going to buy a $900 cold wet wheel to do it. So I had to learn how to do it old school, like, hey, I have these sharpening tools, and this is how you strop it, sharp. So we do that. If you go the Kahu Forge route, we have a day where we do all the work, and then you do your gun stuff, and then the third day, you get to your knife, because I finish up all the other stuff, like the handle work, the cooking of it, all the science and nerd stuff in between, where you'd have to just sit around for hours waiting for processes of tempering the steel to happen. But you're going to hammer that flat, you're going to cut the shape, and you're going to go and grind a whole ton of bevels. So you made your knife. And you're going to sit there and we're going to like shape your handles to it, and you're going to grind and shape all those, and then I'm just assembling and finishing it so it looks pretty and giving it back to you.
Okay, real quick, tell everybody how to contact you, or which ways, how everyone could contact you so they can take your 2-day class.
Well, this is a good one. Right now, starting when I get back in October, you can DM the Instagram if you want a class from me.
Which is, what's the Instagram?
Instagram is Mackay Metalworks _LLC. Any other one, I had 2 other ones. They got ganked on the internet, and someone from Nepal is trying to ask you for money for their prints. Don't talk to those ones. The website will be fixed and not under construction starting November 1st. So when you see it, it says some stuff about me. I tried to put some pictures on there. It was messed up, so I got a guy who's like actually putting my website together. So November 1st, the website launches like full on, where you can get stuff from it. You can also contact Kahu Forge on Instagram to do the weapons class / knife building. And she will handle that on that side. And that starts in October. So that's about it. I mean, if you DM me and you want a class, I'll say, okay, cool. You have to be local, or if you're flying in, you're going to be here for 3 weeks doing something you want to, cool. But make sure you tell me, like, hey, I'm only in town this long, so I got to get stuff done. You might have to mail it to me. So I've had people come in and like, hey, I'm doing something at the base for 3 weeks. Can I come hit some steel and make a knife? I'm like, sure. And what is it? EDC knives, So I would say everyday carries like that size, camping, adventure knife, something like this, and kitchen knife, like a small kitchen knife. You make those. My classes, you're not making a machete. I made a concession because I do this dude's podcast. Twisted my arm.
Sorry, man.
Also, he's a big time customer, so he's like, "Hey, you think I can make a machete?" I'm like, "Yes, you can make a machete."
Sorry, I appreciate it.
And I had just made a machete for me, so I was like, "Well, I made one. Now I got to see if we can make two, so I don't like, oh look, one trick pony." But no, no swords, no machetes. I will be starting I think a tomahawk class, but that's not going to be till like after February, because I need to sit down and like not have me make one, but have someone make one and like time it all out, because the speed at which I produce something versus a student, I need to know student speed so that I know how many classes it's going to take.
Yeah, I was about to ask you, so I know I've seen you make a few hatchets or axes.
Yeah. They're super fun. Just a lot of like strength hammering once you get the shape down. And we're both hammering equally, and then when you shape the shaft of your handle to it, that's just a lot of woodwork and stuff. So I just want to make sure I have like a good time frame for someone. I don't want to have their expectations be here and then like, oh, it takes this long, and they're just like, I'm super over this, and I'm like, it takes a minute to make them.
The good thing is afterwards, after you get done with the workshop, you go to what's that called? Fiesta Taco.
Taco Fiesta.
Taco Fiesta, boy.
Down the street. There's a great taco shop in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
It is the Southern California answer to, is there a good taco and Mexican food in the Hampton Roads area? And I rate it 10 out of 10. Everybody goes there. The horchata's good. They have
the frijoles de charros, boy.
Yeah.
With some squirt.
Yeah.
Whoo!
Yeah. So that's a good place. And that's a solid spot. Like, when we're done, someone's like, hey, is everyone going to go eat? Let's go eat there. And then we just hang out. And we talk about knives or whatever. Yeah, so it's a good time. Everyone likes to shop. People show up. They, just shoot the shit, talk about work, talk about their life. I ask a lot of questions. It's not just me telling you how to make a knife and you're just sitting there like, yes, staring at me. And there's the back of like, hey, what do you do for a living? Like, how long have you lived here?
Well, not only that, when you were doing it, you explained in detail what we're doing and why we're doing it. Yeah. I think that's really cool and important because, okay, this is why we're doing this. Okay, I get on it. You get great detailed explanation of what you do. I like that too. And
a lot of people that show up, they like seen the Forge and Fire show, or they have like somebody they've seen on the internet who makes knives or something, and they'll say, okay, well, this person does this, but you don't. I'm like, well, there's a lot of stuff you learn from books, a lot of stuff you learn from talking to other people, and a lot of stuff you learn from doing, and that all, to me, those three things kind of make my style. And you can take or not take whatever you find in the industry. So I thoroughly enjoy understanding what a student has learned from the TV or whatever, and explaining it back to them like, well, okay, that's what this is what this is, and this is why I do this. And they're like, okay. And it's a good time. It's just a good back and forth. It's fun. And I get to meet new people and collect story, and that's super fun for me and relaxing.
Yeah. Word of mouth also, because hopefully this podcast will get you some more classes, man, because I highly recommend that class. We had a great time. I can go back again and I want to say in a couple weeks to finish it off, man. It would be great. So anything else you'd like to say before we close this one out?
People, I usually don't say stuff like this, so I guess I'll do it. Like, the world gets weird. People say a lot of like mean stuff or like say watch out or be nice. Just stuff's happening in the world. This isn't a plug for my class, it's kind of a plug for things like this. I think people should go find, like, if someone's doing a class, I don't care what it is, somewhere in your community, there's like, I just found out my community center has like a 3D printer lab at the library. And because we live in Chesapeake, you can go use it at the library. And I'm like, oh, I really need to 3D print something and I don't know how. Just get out of your house and stop watching TV and be on Instagram. Like, go to the library and pick a class, do something, pottery, paint by numbers, whatever. Just once in a while do that, because it's super healthy just to like do the adult equivalent of coloring in a coloring book once in a while, because the arts will relax everybody a little bit. You don't have to do it forever, but like if you do it once in a while, it's healthy, I think. So I think people should just try to do that. I think that's my little message from this. Just find something to do once in a while that you like that's not what you normally do.
I get that. That's why I took Ruby there to do that, because where else can you know that there's a local blacksmith that can teach classes, and then you come out of there with your own custom-made blade that you make.
That's a good point, because
You know what I'm saying?
she's like basically the super El Presidente of the restaurant she works at.
Yeah.
We know what her position is, but I can tell her she's in charge of everything. But when she showed up, like the first couple of hits were like, okay. But as you're going and you're talking about work and things you don't like and things you like and life and stress and nothing stress, I miss the dog, we're going on vacation, she starts hammering the steel like a beast.
Yeah.
And then she's super like smiling and laughing and relaxed. Sometimes it's super okay to be loud and abrasive constructively while you're relaxing.
Yeah.
Some people paint to relax. My art is like driving down a hill with no brakes. And I enjoy this because it relaxes me back to being able to sit still in my house and just sit with my dog and relax. Otherwise, I would just jitter all day.
Yeah, I had a great time when I was there. I was just, especially when you were hitting it and I was hitting it, I got
Yeah, and it's like not a competition, but between humans, it becomes a little bit of a competition when I start helping you like, hey, I'm going to hit, then you hit, and we're going to do this. And you're hitting where you want to and where I've told you to. And every time I hit, I'm hitting where you didn't hit to keep the flow going because you're new. And you're in there just, okay, George said to do a U and I'm going to do this and this. And every time you miss a spot, I just hit that one spot where you didn't do it. And you just thought, we're hitting like this. But I'm like, nope, good. So it's just, hey, it's like your dad reaching over with the steering wheel like, no, that's right. And you're like, I'm driving. Yeah, you're driving all right.
I just like hitting this shit, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a great time.
Yeah.
I highly recommend everyone to take it, to get your own custom blade. And you make kitchen knives as well.
Yes.
You know, so I highly recommend it. And it's a great time. And you come out with a custom made blade. Where else around here can you get that other than buying something cheaply made at Walmart or something? You get yours custom made with some real shit. With a great experience of a lifetime. And a lot of people will never say, hey, I made my own custom blade. How many people do you know that actually done that? Not many. That being said, MyKaiMetalworks_LLC is on Instagram. Hit him up to schedule your classes. Episode 152 in the books. Dropping Wisdom with Santos podcast. Please follow me on all platforms. And if you would like to be a guest, please let me know. That being said, I'll talk to you guys next time.